the morning light. Stand firm, it will be alright. Joy comes in the morning. They say the joy comes in the morning, morning. They say the joy comes in the morning, yeah. They say the joy comes in the morning, morning. They say the joy comes in the morning, yeah. They say the joy comes in the morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Community Christian Center. I'm excited, as always, to be here. I'm excited about what's about to kick off on today. And y'all show some love for our facilitators on today. I was going to say Pastor, Brother Rodney and Sister Gore. Hey, we got some young people in the house, 3C's in the house. The conversation today for Renew You is all about healthy dating. So I'm just excited about what's about to go down. The kids are still coming in. My grandson about to get here. But listen, to all of those that are joining us via Facebook, YouTube, we want to invite you to get connected with our ministry. I think we're doing something great here in the RVA area, and we just want to connect with you. So take a moment, pull out your cell phones, text the word welcome to 804-925-1466. Yeah, y'all can do it too. Y'all are, if y'all want to get connected, if y'all want to hang out with us, if y'all want to see what we're all about. But again, if you're watching, hey, just take a moment, text the word welcome to 804-925-1466. When you do, you're going to get a Connect card. And the Connect card is going to ask you for 3 simple pieces of information, but they're relevant to us being able to connect and to do life better together. So after you connected, after you completed that card, again, our ministry is just going to follow up. We won't inundate you with unnecessaries, but we're going to follow up, follow along, and encourage you to do life the way God has intended you to do it. So listen, I'm not going to stand up here and give you a bunch of announcements. That's Pastor Joe's job. But hey, connect with us tomorrow morning at 10:30. We got an awesome time. It's Men's Month, and we're celebrating men all month long. So we just got a great month of June planned to show some love to the brothers. But y'all ready? They ready. Y'all ready? They ready. I'm out of the way. Again, y'all show some love one more time for Nicole and Rodney Gore.
Good morning, everyone. So thank you all for this opportunity. As always, we are excited to be a part of the Renew You ministry. And today we are going to be talking about healthy relationships coming from a standpoint of safe dates. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. Rodney going to tell you a little bit about himself, and then we'll get into our activities for today. So as stated, my name is Nicole Gore. This is my sugarwood. We will have been married 17 years in October. I did work with him at Henrico Mental Health. I was there for 13 years. And for the past 5 years, I've been at the State Department of Behavioral Health. My role there is to serve as the suicide prevention coordinator. And one of our goals is to help promote mental health wellness across all communities, especially in our communities of color. So Rodney, share a little bit about yourself.
Greetings. My name is Rodney Gore. I'm a mental health clinician, basically work in the Office of Prevention, really focusing on preventing, increasing the risk factors and decreasing risk factors and increasing the protective factors. Let me get that right. But I've been in serving prevention in the Oakland Village community about 28, almost 29 years. The Best Connect program, of course, in Henrico County, and have the best people. But I also coach basketball, and I always, the topic that we're discussing is really, really important. We've been in COVID for about a year. And now we're basically talking about healthy relationships and dating relationships with our teens and young adults, since we're going to start going out again, socializing again. So I think it's a very, very important topic for us to discuss.
So also, just back to our Renew You ministry, I do want to share our base scripture. So Brother Tav, you'll go to the next slide, please. And this comes from Romans 12:2. This is the Message version. So it says, don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what he wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you and develops well-formed maturity in you. And so to me, basically, all this is saying is don't be influenced by the world and what other people say. think for yourself, know for yourself, gain knowledge for yourself. It's important to listen and hear what others have to say, but use your own discernment when you are making choices. And one of the ways that you are able to have better discernment is that you put yourself in a position to gain knowledge and tools so that when life situations come your way, you know how to handle those. We're going to have problems. We're going to have conflicts. So we need to have some problem-solving skills, some conflict resolution skills, some communication skills so that we can properly address those when they come about. So that's our goal as a part of Renew You, helping you to develop a God-focused mindset.
And let me say real quick, I'm proud of these young folks that are here. Been working with them for a long time, and they're part of the Teen Job Prep Program. And exactly what that scripture says they are doing. They are different. They don't do what everyone else is doing in their communities and other communities. I have a young man here. He has his own business. He's doing an awesome job. And overall, I'm just proud of them because they have not conformed to the world.
Amen. I like that. Good job. So today we're going to talk about healthy relationships. So even before we get into like what we're going to cover today, Rodney, tell us a little bit more about why it's important for us to talk about healthy relationships.
Well, I think it's important to talk about healthy relationships because all the data shares that starting at sixth grade, going through high school and even in college, it's all something like 36 to all the way to 60-some% that an individual will experience some type of emotional or physical abuse in a dating relationship. So what we want to do is equip you, give you knowledge and wisdom, not only to help yourself and be able to know the signs and symptoms, but if you have a friend that's dealing with that, how do you help them as well? So it's really important that we talk about this just as young adults because, again, we're coming out of COVID and we're going to start opening up, discussing and socializing in a way that we haven't done in a very, very long time.
And that was a very good point that he made. It could be physical harm. It could be emotional harm. A lot of people make the assumption because I haven't been hit, it's not abuse. Emotional abuse can be just as harmful and impactful as physical abuse. So today we're going to talk about how to, we're going to identify qualities that are important to us in a relationship. We're going to identify how we want to be treated by a dating partner. We're going to talk about harmful dating behaviors, give examples of physical and emotional harm, talk about effective communication skills, and not on the chart, we are going to talk about how to help a friend because it is very important that we know how to do that. A lot of times people don't help in situations because they don't know the resources or how to make that connection with them. So we want to give you some tools as it relates to that as well. So enough of the talk, and it's time to get into our activity. So I'm going to pass it to Rodney to get us kicked off with dating bingo.
So I want to ask a question, and I want y'all to be honest. And knowing that you're not going to be judged. What is dating? We talk about dating. What is it? What does that mean to date? When you go out, good. When you go out with someone, what else does it mean to date? Yes. When you're physically and emotionally attached to someone, good answers. Anybody else? What is dating? That was a good answer. So let me ask you this. Can you date more than one person at one time? You're not supposed to, but yes, if it's an open relationship. So if I'm dating, that does not mean to me, you correct me if I'm wrong, Sister Gore, that I'm not necessarily in a relationship. I'm just dating, which means I'm just going out with someone. So if I'm just going out with someone and I'm not in a relationship, let me ask the question again. Can I date more than one person? The answer is yes. Okay. So,
But
go ahead.
If I'm dating you, my assumption is that we're exclusive and this a relationship. So how do we make sure that's not the issue there?
Ooh, good question. And can anybody help me with that? Yes. Communication. Very good. Very good. Well, what if I communicate with you that we're just dating and we're not in a relationship? Does that change the narrative, Sister Gore?
It might. It depends on what I'm looking for. If that's not what I'm looking for, then I need to look for somebody else.
Good point. That works both ways, right?
Correct.
Correct. So, on a date, where do y'all go on dates? Where do you go? Like, I know we've been in the COVID mode, but where do you go on dates? I mean, if you ask a young lady out for a date or you ask a young man out on a date, where would you go? Dave and Buster's. Where else? Movie theaters, where else? Restaurants, good. Park, yes, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, our college students, where do you go on a date? College student, where do you go on a date?
Library.
Huh? Bowling alley, very good, very good. So, any other places you go on a date? Those are really good spots. So, the question is now is, who pays? Woo! Who pays? The male pays? The male's supposed to pay. So, does everybody agree with that? The male's supposed to pay on the date? Do y'all believe that? Is that? I know y'all cool with it, but it's ladies. But is that the fact? First date. First date. But let me ask another
I see
question.
a head shaking no. Might want to get some
Who's saying
perspective
no?
from over here.
What do y'all think? You agree? Should be equal. We used to call it Dutch. They still call it Dutch, where I pay for mine and you pay for yours. But let me ask a question. The male, you're saying that's a traditional role that the male pays for the date. Let me ask this. What if she asked you out on a date? She paid for the food. But see, you just said. Okay, that changes a lot because you feel that if you ask her out for the date that you're paying, but she asks you out on a date, she should pay. What do y'all think about that? Female should not ask a guy on a date. Now, we living in 2021, things real different.
Yeah, because I kind of disagree with that because what if you like somebody and they haven't asked you out yet? Do you just keep letting those feelings linger? Or do you become more assertive and approach them and ask them for a date? How would you handle a situation like that? And not just you, anybody can answer that question. But I go to you first since you brought that up.
Oh,
The guy might not feel the same way, but how will you know? How do you find that out?
by the vibe he giving off.
By the vibe you're giving off, but I heard you use a word earlier that we both know is more effective, and that is communication. We all need to do a better job of communicating how we feel in situations. So, but it's okay if you choose not to ask them, but me, I'm going to step out there if I haven't been approached and it's somebody I'm liking. Anyway, I don't know about all that, but and it's not
Check.
right or wrong answer. That's the other thing that's important in this situation. It has to be what you're comfortable with doing, is what
Check.
you're comfortable with sharing, and then also your level of comfort as it relates to communication. So the important thing about all of this conversation is that whether you say the guy should always pay or the girl should always pay or, he should ask me out. It all comes down to communication. You have to keep those channels of communication open. And we're going to give some tips as it relates to communication a little bit later. So good conversation.
Now, the last piece is there has to be good communication, because if y'all go on a date, you go to, what's some of your favorite restaurants? Hypothetically. Red Lobster, Olive Garden, and those are good restaurants. Both of y'all sitting there and that bill coming, y'all ain't talked about who paying. That's going to be a problem, right? That bill come up, it's about 60 some odd bucks because you done had the tour Italy. You done had the seafood platter. And y'all looking at each other, and they going to want their money, right? So let's have communication about how that's going to happen in advance. All right, so we're going to transition over. We're going to transition. We got a game called Dating Bingo. Dating Bingo. All right? And it's really important that you listen to the instructions, because we're going to move around a little bit, and you're going to have to do a little work so y'all everybody's masked up, and that's really good. So Dating Bingo is a sheet that you're going to have, and it has about 20 characteristics that you want in a dating partner on the sheet. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to circle only 5. Those 5 characteristics are the ones that you think are most important to you. Got that? Only get 5. It's going to feel like you want more, but you only can have 5. So Sister Gore is passing those out. So take a good look. You have a writing utensil. I want you to circle your 5. And once you're done circling your 5, just raise your hand and I'll be able to see, and then I'm going to give you the next instruction. Okay?
So while the group is circling their top 5 traits, what we're really looking at as a part of this activity is to think about what's important to you in a dating partner. It's about how do I determine like what I'm looking for? Do I just look at a guy and it's his looks, or are there other things that I need to consider as a part of that? And you know, there might be some situations where they have 1 or 2 of those qualities which might work for you. It doesn't mean they have to be all 5. I don't want us to get caught in the trap of thinking somebody has to be perfect. You know how we see these movies where they got this list of top 10 things my mate must have, and they're never able to find all those things. So even though we're talking about characteristics that we are looking for in a dating partner, we have to be flexible in our expectations and recognize there are things that we might be able to compromise on. There definitely will be things that we should not compromise on, but in situations like this, there is an opportunity for a little bit more flexibility.
Okay, we got, who needs more time? All right, we good? All right, now these are the instructions. Please, please, please listen. At some point, I'm going to ask everyone to stand up, and we're going to have to move around a little bit and socialize, so I'm glad you have your mask on. Now, what you're going to have to do is find 5 people and get individual initials. For example, if one of your characteristics is intelligent, for example, if one of your characteristics is funny, that means you have to find someone else that has funny. And that person is going to initial your box with their initials. For example, if it's Tehran, it'd be TH. The thing is, you can only use one, you only can get one initial per person. For example, you cannot have Tehran twice, TH twice on your sheet. So, and the first person that gets all 5 initials from individual persons, which is hard because there's not a lot of people in here, we're gonna work with you. You yell bingo. Y'all got it? So you have your 5 circled? Okay, good. All right.
No, you good.
All right. This is what I see y'all. I see how y'all work. That's some gangsters over here already getting it done. So I need everybody to stand up. Stand up. All right. I need you to move around. Move around and find that signature. Move around. You only can get 1 from each person, so let's figure it out.
Just some more information for those who may be watching by Facebook and YouTube as they are talking, just so we won't have a lot of downtime. A lot of the skills that we're talking about today, they don't just apply to dating relationships. They apply to any type of relationship that you may be a part of. This could be a relationship with your parent. It could be a relationship with your coach. It could be a relationship with your friends that's not necessarily a dating relationship. It's important in all situations that we have effective communication and appropriate communication. So how you talk or how you carry a conversation may be different if you're talking to your parent or a teacher and your friend, but we need to make sure that we still have those basic skills and apply them in the appropriate situation. The other thing that we talked about is the value of having caring persons in our lives. We won't necessarily spend a lot of time on that with this group, but it's important that we all identify somebody in our life that we see as a caring person that we can talk to when we are experiencing frustration in situations, or we might not necessarily know how to handle a situation. For example, we talked about we are going to share some resources about how to help a friend, but we need to know what to look for in that scenario. And as young people, especially, they might not be clear on what that looks like or how they should do that. So again, that's why it's important that you have at least one caring adult that you can talk to, that you can share with, who can give you some assistance and maybe how to best address the situation. Okay? So we're going to check in on the status of Dating Bingo and see how it's going. We do recognize there's only a limited number of people in the room. So does anybody have at least 3 signatures? Uh-oh, we got a hand with 3 signatures.
3? What about 4?
Okay. Anybody have 4?
You got 4?
We got one person with 4. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, okay.
We got 2 people with 4. So let's take one last look to see if we can find that 5th one. If not, we'll go with the 4. Okay?
Okay. So we got 4. Come on, Tehran. And how many you have? You got 4?
All right, so let's take one at a time because we need them to come up here and process,
Come on
okay?
up.
All right, so can you give her your mic for this part? Okay, so if you don't mind, if you'll please tell us your name first, please. Take the
My
mic
name
in
is
one second. Thank you.
My name is Dominique.
Dominique, so Dominique has 4. So Dominique, what's the first one that was circled on your sheet?
Weird and wacky.
Weird and wacky. Who signed it for you?
My sister,
Okay, what's your sister's name?
Anaya.
All right, Sister Anaya, tell me, why is it important to you to have somebody weird and wacky in a dating relationship? Why is that important to you?
So that you can feel comfortable with
Okay.
each other.
Okay, so that helps you to feel comfortable with each other. Thank you. So what's your next one?
Adventurous.
Adventurous, and who signed that one?
The initials are AR.
Who is AR? Okay, AR, tell us your name and why it's important for you to have somebody adventurous in a relationship.
I'm like outgoing, I guess.
Because you're outgoing, and what's your name?
Alane.
Alana. So Alana, is that
No,
correct?
Alane.
Alane said that she wants somebody who's outgoing. That's why she chose adventurous. Okay, what's your next one?
Honest.
Honest, and the initials?
JH.
JH. Where's JH? Who did it? Tell us your name and why you selected honest.
My name is Jahira, and I selected honest because you gotta be honest.
You gotta
tell
be
the truth.
honest. Okay, so in your case, you gotta tell the truth. That sounds like a non-negotiable. We're gonna talk more about that. So good choice. All right, and the last one you have?
A good listener.
A good listener, and what's the initials?
JF.
JF. All right, if you would tell us your name and why you chose good listener.
My name is Janai, and I chose good listener because if we're going through a situation, I would want you to understand where I'm coming from and actually listen and give your best answer to how I feel and where we can work this out to.
Very well said. That sounds a lot like the communication skill tips that we're going to be sharing. So excellent job. So Rodney, if you
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Good. Now, hold on.
All right. Yes,
Do
I'm
the
going to give you
Tehran.
next. Yes, absolutely. So I was going to say she can go back to her seat. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. All right. So is it Tavon?
Tehran.
Tehran, my apologies. Tehran, how tall are you? Oh, my goodness. Okay, Tehran, what's the first one you have circled?
The first one I have circled is confidence.
Confidence, and whose initials?
My sister.
Okay, and sister, tell us your name and why you circle confidence. Well, why do you think it would be important to have somebody with confidence?
You have to be confident.
You have to be confident in yourself, okay? So you definitely want to be confident in yourself in a dating relationship. Okay, tell us your next one.
Supporter.
And what's the initials?
AB.
AB. So AB, tell us your name and why it's important to have someone supportive.
My name is Mario Bella, and I think you need to be supportive in case you need the person in a type of situation.
All right, I like that. So basically, you want to be supportive and also know that they'll be there to support you in a situation. All right, next one.
Funny.
Funny. And what's the initials?
AR.
AR. Who's AR? Oh, yes, back to Miss Alane. Why is it important to have someone funny? Funny, and her other one was adventurous.
Because, like, you have good character.
Say that again.
Like, good character?
So that's part of having good character. So you, a funny person, is a person with good character.
Yeah.
Okay? And one more.
Unique.
Unique, and whose initials?
JH.
JH. Oh, yes. All right. Tell us why it's important to have somebody who's unique.
You can be different in any way.
It could be
Like-
different in what?
In any way.
In any way.
You gotta
Okay.
be comfortable though.
Yeah, yes, comfortable is important, but also maybe looking for somebody different. We talked earlier about not conforming, not following the crowd, not being like everybody else. So a person who's unique has that confidence and will think for themselves. So thank you for sharing, sir. Yes.
We have something for you too.
All right. Appreciate you. Good job.
Fire below. Got them. Y'all can get y'all's chargers and plugs and puds and all that type of stuff on there. Thank you. Good job. Good job. So let's share some characteristics that was not discussed. Anybody had anything different? Yes. Older than I am. That's always a hot one. Want to talk a little bit about older than I am. Anybody else have anything different that wasn't discussed? Yes, Jannar.
I have independent because I'm an independent man myself. You know, I work hard for everything I do. So
Ooh, independent man, independency. Very good. Anybody else have anything different? Okay. Let me ask, why did you pick older than I am?
Because I don't
You don't like people younger than you? So let me ask a question. Does older mean more mature? It does? Did y'all agree with that? No. Ooh, you got a resounding no. So let me say, older does not necessarily mean more mature. But I do understand wanting to date, socialize with someone older. But you could, if you're, how old are you? If you're 17, you could date someone 20, 21, which I hope you don't, but if you do, that does not necessarily mean that they're more mature. So that's just keep that in mind. Anything else? What about anybody put rich? No? No
I'm
rich?
so glad.
I'm
that
so
used
glad.
to be a lot more popular, so I'm glad
Yes.
to see that that's changed.
Rich. Okay. Anything else? Those was, and everything else was covered for the most part. Okay. You put romantic. Thank you. Gentlemen, put romantic. Why is that important, Tehran, romantic? Romantic.
It's part of the vibe. I
Part
like
of the
that. I like
vibe.
romance. I need more flowers. Hint, hint. Okay.
Wasn't threw me under the bus. Okay. Romance is very important in a relationship, I think, as well. So,
Ty, if you'll go to the next slide, please.
So, what we like for you to do at this time is look at, it says, I want to,
How I want to be treated in a relationship.
I want to be treated in a relationship. And as you can see, we have some adjectives up. Can you read those? Because I'm blind as a bat.
Yeah, sir. So how I want to be treated in a relationship. And there are more than the ones covered on this list, but these are some of the top ones that we normally get. People say, I want to be respected. I want to be trusted. I want to be supported. I want to be encouraged. I want to be protected. I want to be committed to, and I want to be treated honestly.
So, you have several up there. What I want each person to do is pick two that are non-negotiable, that are really, really important to you in a dating relationship that's a must. Anybody know the two right off the top that's important to them?
Give him the mic.
Yes.
Pass him the mic, please. Rodney, I need you to stay in the middle.
Respected and trusted.
Respected and trusted. Good. You know.
Two off top, I'll say,
Speak a little louder.
oh, yeah. I'll say respected and treated honestly.
Respected and treated honestly.
And also, too, just a reminder, it could be something that's not on this list that's top for you, but again, these were just some of the top choices. So if you're having a thought that's not on the sheet, you can share that as well.
I feel that it should be trusted and supportive.
Respected and trusted.
Yes, good job.
Respected and treated honestly.
Respected and treated honestly.
Respected and trusted.
Respected and trusted.
Respected and encouraged.
Respected and encouraged. Very good.
Respected and treated honestly.
Respected and treated honestly. Respect is a common theme amongst this group, which I think is really, really important. So what that means is if you want respect, what do you have to do? Give it back. Excellent. So if you want respect, you have to give respect. So in a relationship, it could be a friendship, doesn't necessarily mean a dating relationship, is that respect should always be really, really important. And when you respect someone, you're honest, you care about their feelings, you communicate appropriately, and you do all of those things as well. So good job, guys. Okay.
Okay, so now we want to talk a little bit about physical harm and emotional harm. And we're going to give some examples of each and talk about them and how they might present in a relationship. So who call out and just give me an example. What's an example of physical harm? And if you have a mic, please try to use it so that everybody can hear. Or I can repeat it if you just say it out. What's an example of physical harm? What does that look like? Physical harm is hitting, okay? Physical harm is hitting. What else? It's a whole lot of things. Yes? Okay, so maybe someone gripping you or holding you in a manner so that you can't release yourself, like they're holding your wrist so tight you can't get away. Yes, that's physical harm. What else? Come on, I know y'all know. Shout them out. Biting. What else? Yes, that's physical harm. If somebody bites you, don't you think that's physical harm? Yes. What else? Pushing.
Using objects, like cutting somebody and stuff like that.
Cutting someone. Yes, absolutely. What else? Kicking someone. Yes. What else?
Using a legal arm.
Using
Guns. No.
using a gun. Okay, so how are you using it? In a threatening way? So if you're using a gun in a threatening way, you didn't necessarily touch them with it, that is an example of harm because you're being emotionally harmful, and it could turn into physical harm if the situation escalates and get out of control. So with that said, give us some examples of emotional harm. What does emotional harm look like in a relationship? How can someone be emotionally abusive? What are things they do or say?
Degrading the next one.
Degrading you, yes. What else?
Being disrespectful, like bringing somebody down.
Oh, being disrespectful, bringing somebody down. That happens a lot. Why do people do that in relationships?
'Cause they
Why
wanna
would you
feel better.
degrade someone? So it helps them to feel better about themselves. What else? Why else do you degrade someone? To not feel bad about yourself. Okay. Give me some more examples of emotional harm. Competing. It could be harmful, but it also could be a good thing. It depends on how you do it, right? Who can think of an example of how competing in a relationship is a positive? Okay, so maybe pushing them, like even though you're competing with them, you might be pushing them to do better themselves. For example, who can get the better score on the test? So we study together. Or if you're both athletes trying to improve your running time, you run together. So in that sense, competing is a positive. But if it's a way, again, to reflect negatively on them, then it's definitely going to be seen as a negative in that situation. How about spreading rumors? Is that physical or emotional? Emotional harm. Why do people do that in relationships? What's the value in that? Or what do they think the value is because it's not value in that? Yeah, that is weird, but it happens. Come on, guys. We ever spread rumors about a young lady that wasn't true? Young ladies, we ever spread a rumor about a guy that wasn't true? It works both ways. Everything we say, it could be a guy doing it or a girl doing it. Even though we know most reports are of young men being the aggressor in relationships, but statistics show that women can be just as aggressive, but men don't report it as much. That's truly the difference. Women are more likely to report it in situations. So in this situation, never think that if I lead with guy, it's because I'm a female, but it's something that a girl or a guy could do in a situation. Okay, what about icing a dating partner from others? Is that physical harm or emotional harm? Like separating them from their friends, keeping them from being around them. That's emotional. Why do you do that? They're insecure. It's a power and control thing. If I can keep you away from your friends, if I can keep you isolated from others, your focus is on me, and then therefore I can have things go the way that I want them to in this situation, okay? So don't mean to be negative, but it is important that we understand behaviors that are negative in a relationship because we need to address them, and if we right off the bat don't know how to address them, again, we need to have that person that we can talk to say, hey, I got this thing I need to bounce off you, and then that'll help you process and know how to deal with it, okay? So with that said, now we're going to talk a little bit about red flags.
So the question is, what is a red flag? What does it mean? Warning. Excellent. Who said that? Good job. Great job. Great job. It's a warning. And in most dating relationships, there are red flags. But what happens is sometimes when we're in love or overwhelmed or want to be with that person, we ignore those red flags. And what I'm sharing with you from an educational perspective is like, do not ignore the red flags because they are there. They start out really mild, really appear to be insignificant, but what happens is they progressively get worse. So, can I get a volunteer to read the first 5 red flags that's on your sheet? Well, somebody with a mic.
I can do it.
Okay.
Being physically hurt, feeling afraid of your girlfriend or boyfriend, feeling isolated, maybe even alone, losing your friends, changing your behavior because of your girlfriend's or boyfriend's jealousy.
Next 5. Tehran, read the next 5 for me, please.
Feeling embarrassed, put down, ashamed, or guilty, being threatened, feeling manipulated or controlled, being afraid to express your own feelings or anger, feeling a nervous or sick feeling in your stomach when your girlfriend or boyfriend is irritated, frustrated, or angry.
Good. So in a healthy dating relationship, should you feel any of these things like feeling embarrassed, put down, ashamed, or guilty? Absolutely not. Feeling manipulated or controlled? Feeling nervous or sick feeling in your stomach when your girlfriend or boyfriend is irritated, frustrated, or angry, you walking on eggshells. Should you feel that way in a healthy relationship? Absolutely not. So the last one is feeling a pounding or fluttering in your chest when your boyfriend or girlfriend isn't unhappy, because when they're unhappy, who knows what may happen. Not being allowed to or being afraid to make decisions for yourself. Noticing that your girlfriend or boyfriend has very traditional, stereotypical beliefs about women and men. And that goes back to the communication. For example, if you come from a traditional way genders are operated, that old school, the man bring home what? The money. She got it. It used to be saying, man bring home the bacon. What that means is, and women do what? Stay home, cook, and clean. Well, we all know that that has changed, and I, as a father of 3 daughters, I'm so glad. But also, I'm not saying anything I shouldn't have said I'm glad that that's changed, but the key is communication. If you choose in a relationship for that to be the tradition, and it's an understanding, then that's okay, but it has to be clear. It can't be automatic that the woman's gonna stay home barefoot pregnant while the man bring home the bacon, or, because now we have what, stay-at-home dads. Things have changed a lot, but again, as long as we communicate those things, and women are not subservient to men, and men doesn't necessarily have all the pressure of being the breadwinner. It's a team effect, okay? So the last one is not having your thoughts or wishes for personal space respected. If you want to have your own time, and that's okay, and if somebody violates that, then that could be a problem, especially if you communicated anything differently, okay? So,
Rodney, one of the things that I want to do as a part of this discussion is talk about ways that technology can be used to be harmful in relationships. How will technology show up as a red flag in a situation? So, yes, please pass her a mic on the end. Yeah, I want us to talk about this because social media is so big in this day and age. Like for me, I got my first cell phone. It was the bag phone in the car, and I was in college. And the only reason I got it because my car kept breaking down, and they got tired of me having to sit there till the state trooper rolled up. But now we hit 3rd grade, which is crazy, I think, sorry. And we getting telephones, right, and our own connection. So truly the difference is you all are growing up with cell phones and computers and things like that. And social media can be such a positive influence, but it also can be a very negative influence. So let's talk a little bit about how technology can become a red flag in relationships. Yes, ma'am.
Exposing people's personal business.
Exposing people's personal business. And when do we normally do that in a relationship? If you're in a relationship with somebody and you know their personal stuff, when is it that we might make a decision to share some of that on social media? When they make you mad, yes. That means we haven't necessarily figured out how to handle those emotions, and we need some skills to help us with that. What else? How else can technology be used in a harmful way? Texting. Think about texting.
People
DMs,
gonna accuse
IMs.
people of cheating and all that stuff, texting other,
Say that again.
like texting other females and stuff like that.
So
Cheating.
texting other females?
Yeah,
oh,
cheating.
Oh, so you're texting other females. So you might not necessarily be talking to them in person out in the open where everybody else can see, but you use that technology to have that communication, okay? Very good. And it sounds like there obviously, like we talked about earlier, been some conversation that you and I in a relationship, so that's why we're doing this undercover via texting, communicating with the other person. What are some other ways that technology can be harmful in a relationship?
going off based off somebody else's relationship, like how they travel and do certain type of stuff, and when you with her, y'all only just chill at the house and order some pizza or something like that.
Yep, that is so very important that you said that, because that is not just a teen thing. That's a people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So we see social media images and they post they at the beach or they out traveling and they out partying. And mind wants to think that that's the way it is all the time. Nope, that's just that 1 week vacation out of 52 weeks. But what people do is on social media, they post all the positive. So if you're in a relationship and at that time, if you're struggling with some things or maybe not able to go out and do things, that can cause some tension because you're looking at social media thinking, hey, they living their life and I'm not. But you have to remember that social media is just a snapshot in time for that person. But we can think about it in that manner. What's some other examples? Do you have another one?
Yes, and I want to share with you young ladies and gentlemen that social media can be one of the biggest, it's a great thing. It can be a downfall. For example, body parts, pictures being taken, and body shaming and forwarding and retweeting those things. I've heard and seen horrendous stories as relates to that. So please be careful with social media. One of the things that can happen before you even get a good job, you can lose a good job based on social media. Before you get that athletic scholarship, you can lose that athletic scholarship based on social media. Now, just because you did not create the negativity, but when you forward something and you retweet something, it's just as if you done it yourself. So keep that in mind as it relates to social media when you're, and the last thing I would share is when you're angry and hurt and frustrated, turn your phone off or put it down for 24 hours. That is not the time to get back on social media, okay?
Because oftentimes we make those decisions out of anger and then regret them. But once you put it out there, it's not coming back. You can delete it, but somebody else has already forwarded it, copied it, and passed it on. So yes, just be very mindful of that. And one more side note, not necessarily related to relationships, but I think it is important that we share. Rodney talked about scholarships being lost, jobs being lost. That's so very true. And unfortunately, we know situations where young men have not gotten a scholarship because of their social media presence. And it wasn't related to a relationship, but we have to be mindful of our behaviors and the pictures that we post and what's in the background of those pictures, okay? So red cups will get you a lost scholarship, even though you flexing for the gram, or I know I probably didn't use the right term, but things like that will cause you to lose scholarships. So be mindful of that. It will cause you not to get that job that you want. You can go through school, get that certification, but nobody will hire you because based on social media, you don't come across as a good employee. So, yes, go ahead.
No, all those are really, really good points. So, again, I know when she breaks up with you, it hurts, and your feelings are hurt, and you're sad, but that's not the time to bash her and put out there all the personal pictures that y'all had
Shouldn't have taken in the first place.
place.
That's the mama of five in Nicole talking right there.
Right.
So just being mindful of the time, we do want to take a little bit of time to talk about ways that we can help a friend who may be in trouble. So that's very important that we do that. And I will get to my communication skills after that. Thank you, Ty. So when we're talking about how to help a friend, it's very important that if you in your relationship, or actually in this case, we're talking about if you have a friend and you see some red flags, you've seen some behaviors that are negative in that situation, you as a friend have the right to have a conversation. No, you had not the right. It is your it's your responsibility, thank you, to have a conversation with them, because if you're a true friend, and it's not to call them out, it's not to shame them, it's not to be negative, but it's like, hey, I noticed such and such is going on, let's talk about this. Let them share how they feel, and then you also share where from your perspective it is emotional harm because of da-da-da, or it's a red flag. So again, it goes back to being able to use those communication skills. But the first thing you need to do when you do notice something is don't gossip to others. That's like the first first thing we want to do and the last thing we should do. If there's a situation with our friend, we shouldn't be talking to everybody else about it. We need to talk in
Ooh,
private.
child. Ooh, did you hear? Ooh.
Don't tell other people without your friend's permission what's going on in their relationship. Now, after you've had a conversation and you have their permission and you're sharing as a way of getting them some support and help, then you talk about it. That still doesn't unleash you to gossip about their situation. Okay?
The next one is believe their story. If someone comes to you, first of all, it's very, very difficult for someone who's being emotionally or physically in an abusive relationship to come. If they come to you as a friend, don't say, I don't believe that. I mean, you well, and that ain't true.
Yeah, he the star athlete. He made good
He
grades.
wouldn't
Ain't
do
no
that.
way
I
he'll
know
be doing
him.
something like that.
I know her. What you want to do is listen and believe your friend, acknowledge your feelings, and let your friend know he or she is not alone. That's the most important thing.
Yep. Even if you don't have the answers, just be there with them. Let them know they are not alone. The next one is tell the person that they did not deserve to be abused. The perpetrated abuse is not your friend's fault. No one deserves to be abused. So quick example. Y'all know I used to watch Lifetime all the time, right? I know Rodney is like every time he came through on a Saturday, we were on the Lifetime channel. Lifetime was famous for the movies with the lady with the short skirt who ended up being sexually violated and then wanted to blame her for that. Just because she wore a short skirt did not mean that she deserved to be abused in that situation. Just because you do something and your partner didn't like it and they get angry and lash out does not mean you deserve to be abused in that situation. So be mindful of that. Don't allow the person to make you feel like it's your fault that they treated you in an abusive manner, because that is what abusers do. They blame you. Your behavior made me angry, therefore I lashed out. Nope, that's not your responsibility. Don't take ownership for their bad behavior.
Okay. Let your friend make his or her own decisions, okay? Respect your friend's right to make a decision when she or he is ready. Each of us is an expert on our own life. And what that means is if they share with you and they don't want you to share with everyone else, difficult as it may be, don't share with other friends what's going on, and let it be their decision. However, if it's a life-threatening situation and you feel like there's definitely, and it's going in that direction, I feel you have a responsibility to share it with an adult.
They'll be mad temporarily, but it could be a choice that ends up saving their life. So make sure, like you said, if it's life-threatening, that you do that. The next one says make a safety plan. This is a situation when they may still be, they're not in the relationship, but they still might be in contact with that person and they're afraid for their own safety. So basically what you're saying is, what has your friend done in the past to keep safe from the abuse? So for example, if you were at school and maybe they normally ride with that person, then they need to start riding the bus or walking with you or whatever. You're basically setting up a plan to make sure that they're not alone with that person if they're still afraid of them. Okay.
Also, I would add a safety plan could be something as simple. For our college student or students, for example, if you're going out on a date for the first time, your friends in the dorm, you let them know, if I haven't called you by 10 p.m., that you need to call me, that something could be wrong. And always let people know where you're going and who you're with. It's not that people are in your business, but it's really important that you have a safety plan, especially when you think you know people, but you don't always really, really know them until you are totally comfortable. So having a safety plan is really, really important. And Nicole talked about the Lifetime movie. It was a movie where a lady was in a very, very abusive relationship, and she told her, and she basically went from one state to the next because her husband was so abusive. And she told her neighbors, if my porch light is ever out, they call the police. My porch light is ever turned off, call the police. Now, she had really, really nosy neighbors because she came in the neighborhood.
That's when you want those nosy neighbors.
When you want those nosy neighbors. And her husband found her, and she was able to get to the light on her porch and turned it off, and it saved her life because the police came right in time. That is an extreme example of a safety plan, but that is a plan that worked.
And the last one on here is give help. Know the resources in your community. Is there a hotline? What legal, medical, or counseling options are available? So one of the more well-known lines is the National Crisis Text Line. People call it about relationships, about finances, about jobs, anything. So you can text 741-741 and say, hey, I have a question about whatever, and you can put any message in there, and they'll provide you with some communication. And it could be, hey, I got this friend and they're in this situation. I don't know how to talk to them about it. It could be as basic as that. You do not have to wait for it to be a full-blown crisis before you take advantage of resources like that. They're really there to give you some help before they become a crisis situation. So think about for yourself, the one about, first time you go on a date or as a new person, it's always important to make sure somebody knows where you are. It's always important to know what resources are. And in a school setting, I just want to ask, who might be a resource that you could connect to if you were actually in the school building? Since we are going back to school this fall, who might be a resource in the school? Your school counselor. Who
very
else?
good.
A trusted teacher. Who else? The principal, yes. There are people who have very good relationships with their principals as well. On a college campus, who might be or what might be a good resource? What kind of stuff?
Coach.
A coach.
Coach.
So if you're
Coach would
part
be
of
good.
any type of activity, not just college, but elementary, middle, and high school, coaches can be very good. What else? Take your
I said a related student.
A related student, yes. It could be somebody your age that can give you some helpful advice. Hey, they might have been in this class and say, I know if I don't know anything else, I know we can text 741-741, and they can connect us to some local resources. Anything else on the college campus? Back there, I'm picking on you, Miss Norfolk State.
I was
on
going
a-
to say my advising.
Oh, yeah, so your academic advisor. So in the high schools, that's your school counselors, and college is your academic advisors, yes. So who in the church might be somebody that you could go to for help? Could be your pastor. Who else? Could be Pastor Cynthia at the front desk. Could be Miss Anika when she greeting us. Whoever it is that you're comfortable with. Could be Brother Ty, always in the back. Hey, Brother Ty, I need to talk to you. Hey, it's got to be somebody that you are comfortable enough with that you can share. So if you don't know who that person is, I need you to think about that today. Figure out who it is, and then I need you to call or text them and say, hey, I went to this Safe Dates class today, and one of the things they told us we need to do is identify one trusted person that we can talk to, and you are that person for me.
Could
And
be
the-
an aunt, could be
Yes.
an uncle.
Yes, it could be an older sibling, so just be mindful again of who it is for you. And you want to let them know that so that when you do reach out, they know this is serious. They've already let me know, and now we need to have some more conversation.
Yep.
It is 10:52.
Good. I wanted to I ain't gonna say real quick, that's a bad habit of mine. I want to talk to the gentleman about safe dates and healthy relationships. We have a relationship. We have a responsibility to keep our young ladies safe and secure. And I know we have this thing in our communities about masculinity and what that looks like in reference to what we call our young queens and princesses. You know, the other name that starts with a B. And what I want you to do when you're in your locker rooms, when you're in your community, in your sports programs, and wherever you are, is to take a different approach when guys are emotionally abusive, physically abusive, is to call them out on that. Because I think all of you gentlemen here have sisters, correct? Some of you got 2, 3 sisters. Think about that in reference to your sisters, what kind of guy you'll want them to date, what kind of guy you'll want dating your mom, and also that emotional type of abuse, dealing with it, handling it, and you being a pillar and an example, a beacon of light of what real men are like. We treat our women with respect. We don't lie and create narratives that are not true. And we definitely don't put our hands on them in a physical, negative way. But it starts with us. So I want us to make that commitment to continue to be that beacon of light in reference to respecting our women. Yes, sir.
I was ready to say that's why you show your sisters type of show them how they should be treated, as in treat them the way that another man should treat them, so they understand man is being disrespectful. That's not right. He shouldn't be calling me that because my brother does.
Great point, man. Awesome.
You're modeling what they should be looking for in a healthy relationship. So that is very important that we not only see that in our fathers, but our brothers and uncles as well. So thank you for sharing that.
And if there's a gentleman that is emotionally and physically abusive and you're in a social setting, pull him to the side. Might not be right there in that moment because
he gonna buck because he around other peers. But like, dude, let me talk to you. Man, that's real disrespectful, man. Why you treat her like that? That's not cool at all. And you might be the only person that does that, and that might change the behavior. And then with the young lady, let her know that she's not alone. It doesn't have to be the same sex. We all can be supportive and caring to a person that's dealing with something emotionally and physically abusive.
So it's almost time for us to wrap up. We want to just quickly go over these few communication skills tips. So the first one is secure your center. Basically, this means what we talked about earlier. Don't respond in anger. Don't respond emotionally. If you are feeling super emotional, that's when you need that time out, be it 2 hours, 10 hours, whatever, before you make a response in that situation. And the next one is to ask clarifying questions. Why is this important? Because what you see or what you assume might not be what really happened in that situation. So you need to open up the lines of communication, have some, dialogue about what it is that's happening right here. The next one says, find out what your partner's feelings are. You clearly, sounds like you've expressed your feelings. Well, that's actually the next one. You need to know how your partner feels in this situation, but you also need to be able to share your feelings in this situation. And the last slide, please. I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry, Ty. Determine what's important to you. So in relationships, there are some non-negotiables. We talked about that. And you need to think, will this impact my self-esteem? Will this impact my happiness? Will this impact my safety? And at the same time, acknowledge what's important to your partner. What are their non-negotiables? But also, what are the things that we can have some flexibility about so that we can move forward past this conflict that we're dealing with? And the next one is talk about where you agree and disagree. So talk about what those differences are, especially why we have those differences. So it might be something that we can change, or it might be a situation where we just agree to disagree and we need to go another route in order for us to be able to move forward. And the last one is exchange ideas for a possible solution. So we want to do all that brainstorming and thinking about it to say, now that I shared my feelings, now that I shared, how I think we should handle it, we need to together decide what works best for us in this situation so we can continue to have a healthy relationship. And the last thing I want you to think about is, in a healthy relationship, I am responsible for blank. So not that we want you to share out loud, but think about this. We've talked about what we want in a dating partner. We've talked about how we want to be treated in situations. We've talked about examples of what we know is wrong in relationships. But I will give an example for you to think about. In a healthy relationship, I am responsible for letting Rodney know when I'm not happy about something, because he might think everything is okay if I never express that. So I need to be able to communicate with him what I don't like in that situation, why I feel that way, and some possible ways for us to move forward, okay? So think about what your responsibility is in a healthy relationship.
Okay. Any questions? Concerns? Hey, thank y'all for listening. This is very important information. We want y'all to go out into the community and be that model, that behavior. Y'all got it? Thank you so much. We're going to ask our pastor. Look, we have an adult version of this. It's called Happily Ever After. And our pastors, Pastor Julius White and Pastor Kern White, they give us the same knowledge and wisdom that we're providing to you. Okay? So we're being teaching, learning just like you are. All right? Thank y'all for listening. Okay.
Come on, let's show some love one more time to the Gores. Show yourselves some love. Big up to the young people that's in the house. Want to thank, again, Rodney and Nicole for leading this and the awesome job they do with Renew You. Did y'all enjoy this? Yeah. Can we do something like this again? I promise next time I'll get y'all some lunch and whatnot, and we'll take it to the next step. So, hey, for real though, can you guys plan to do another session or to take it further or whatever's next with it? We need to do, this just needs to be shared. I thought it was awesome. So all you guys that have watched and connected with us or will come past this, look for us to do it again, bigger and better. I want you guys to share it, let your friends know you had a good time. I promise you I'm going to get you something to eat. And we're going to come back and do it again. Cool? Cool. All right. So listen, hey, make sure you connect with us. One more time, that phone number. Text the word welcome to 804-925-1466. Connect with us tomorrow morning, 10:30.
Joy comes in the morning light.
We'll see you in the AM. Thank you, guys. Peace. We out. Wow, what an amazing, amazing word. Listen, after hearing a word like that, I hope that it permeated and touched your heart the same way it did ours. And we want to offer you the opportunity to connect with a God that loves you and is concerned about every area of your life. He tells us in the book of Romans, if we confess with our mouth and believe with our heart that his son Jesus came, died, and was raised for us, that we could live in eternity with him. How? I'm glad you asked. Just simply make that confession. At the end of this, we're going to pray with you, but right now, I want to offer you the opportunity to connect. Simply text the word winner, because every is to be one, to 804-925-1466. When you do, the Connect card. Please, the Connect card, I promise you, our follow along team is going to come up and walk beside you and help you walk out this new life. Man, life is truly about to be better because we're doing it together. So again, make sure you make that connection. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for all things being well. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, peace, and prosperity. We thank you for these that have heard this word today, and we thank you for the decisions that they made to come into a righteous relationship with you. God, we believe and receive every good and perfect gift through and by the matchless name of your Son, Jesus Christ. And together we say amen. Listen, man, you are on the path to living the best life, your blessed life. So let's stay connected. Let's stay connected. Again, text the word winner to 804-925-1466. And as always, meet me at 3C, where life is better when we do it together. Peace.
We want to give you an opportunity to connect with us in giving. The Bible tells us that there are 4 types of giving. The first type of giving is the tithe, and the motivation behind the tithe is obedience. The second type of giving in the Bible is your first fruits, and the motivation behind that is generosity. The third type of giving in the Bible is your alms giving. The motivation behind that is compassion. The fourth type of giving in the Bible is the seed, and the motivation behind that is faith and reward. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to connect with us in these ways, following God's principles of personal finance. There's 2 different ways that you can connect with us in giving. The first is you can text in your gift. The telephone number is 804-409-8687. Simply put in the dollar amount and you'll receive back an electronic receipt. Or you can go to our website, your3c.com, click on the giving tab. You could give a one-time gift, or we want to encourage you to bring giving, where that way your seed can continue month after month. We thank you for all that you have done, and we thank you for partnering with us as we complete our vision of becoming changed people, changing people with the love of God. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for your love and mercy on us. Father, we believe that every word in the Bible was given by you, and your promise that you will bless us when we are obedient to your word. So we gladly give to you what is yours. Thank you for blessing these tithes and offerings. We love you, Lord. Amen and amen. We thank you so much for partnering with us in giving, and we know that God will continue to bless you.
Joy comes in